Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for downloading episode 101 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Quick note, guys. Do you like the water? Do you like boats? Do you like hanging out with cool, nerdy folk? Well, Mark and I do too, and that's why we're going to be part of the JoCo Cruise 2017. It leaves in like 40 days, and there are still cabins available. It's sailing out of San Diego around the Sea of Cortez. It's going to be so much fun, and there's so many cool people there. Go to JoCo Cruise, that's JoCocruise.com, to book your cabin immediately and check out all of the fun and awesome guests that are going to be there. Also, are you enjoying the show? Are you new to the show? Have you been listening for a while, but you've never told anybody about it? Share the show with a friend and give them the gift of argument. And another great way you can help us out and make the show available to a bunch of people is to rate and review us on iTunes. Give us one of those 5-star reviews. Almost 400 people have left reviews, and I know so many more of you can join in and pitch in. It's so easy to do, and it does help new people discover the show. So hit those 5s on iTunes. And also, one last thing, join us on Facebook at our new Facebook group. That's facebook.com/groups/We Got This Podcast. It's all about conversations. People are talking with each other. People are talking with me, and I love it. And you will too. And it couldn't ask for a nicer group of people to be assembled on the internet. So check that out. But for now, why don't you check out episode 101 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all, worst zoo animal.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Good evening, Hal.
Good evening to you, Mark.
Is it evening where you're listening, listener?
Tell us. Describe. You know what? Send us a tweet at We Got This Tweets with the hashtag my time of day, and just a picture, and don't say anything, nothing else, and then we'll know who the real fans are.
Ooh, I love it.
Who will just obey our whimsical requests for information.
If we were waiting for the real fans, we would do it at the end of the episode.
Oh, that's
Anybody
true.
can listen to the first 60 seconds, my friend.
You know what? We'll have to plant more of these throughout the episode to see who's really paying attention, as I like to do.
I like that. To those of you who are joining us for the first time, thank you for joining us. My name is Mark.
And I'm Hal. And thanks for listening.
And, yes, and we have a topic to discuss, a very important topic today. One of the more important topics that we've really tried to tackle on this show, and I'm a little, frankly, nervous at what the ramifications of our decision might be.
Well, before we reveal this topic to end all topics, something that's really controversial. I mean, highly controversial. This was suggested by Jason Cookingham, which is such a great name for like a British knight. That you should wear, Jason, you should wear a suit of armor all the time if you're listening to me.
Yeah.
You can carry it off. This is the Cookingham coat of arms.
Yeah, and you absolutely should go to Britain and do something important so that the Queen eventually lords you.
Yeah. Maybe you could just be cooking ham all the time.
Ooh.
I'm the greatest ham cooker in all of the realm.
I just cooked my first ham. I'd never cooked a ham before, and it's surprisingly easy and delicious.
Was it like a spiral ham, like a honey baked?
No, it was like a honey baked ham, but it wasn't spiral cut. It was I had to do all the cutting myself, my friend.
What did you do? What was the occasion that you found yourself baking an entire? Because it's like big. A ham's like a big.
It's big. A ham's gathering. A big thing. It was for Juliana just got a new apartment, and so I baked a ham for her apartment. You
know, some people burn sage, other people cook ham. There are a lot of ways to break in an apartment.
Look, man, I do it the way the Southern people do it. It's kind of like burning sage. You walk it through the house and let the ham scent waft and just fill it. And if you're lucky in the South, it will stick to the walls and never leave.
And if you're unlucky, it will lure a bunch of cartoon characters in by the nose, having been pulled by that tantalizing ham scent.
But we're not here to talk about ham today, Hal.
I wish we were, but we're not. We gotta drill in.
We gotta really dig hard into this very difficult topic. What is our topic today, Hal?
The topic is worst zoo animal. Well, let me point something out, which is the people already know what the topic is. Why do we spend time revealing the topic when we say it at the top of the show? There's that whole like film trailer thing where I say worst zoo animal, which is the topic for this show.
Right.
But then we get, it's almost like neither of us knows that we have a podcast.
I certainly don't. I just like talking to you.
I like talking to you too. I figured let's record it and make money off of it. That hot podcast money.
So for this episode, why don't you just put "you'll see" at the top? You could even use my voice doing it just now.
We'll settle once and for all. I'm not telling. That'll increase listenership.
So today we're talking about what is the worst zoo animal. You seemed very adamant when we first came up with this topic about what the correct answer was. So I'll tell you what I did, Hal. I dug into the vast internet to find, not only people's opinions about zoo animals, but also, since the question was just what is the worst zoo animal, to find some animals that may not be in every zoo and may not even be in more than one zoo, but they are definitely worth getting put into this race for worst zoo animal.
Now, it's not going to be a particular animal, right? It won't be like a really tired giraffe where it's like, oh, that giraffe is boring.
The worst zoo animal is Mittens.
Just a pair of mittens.
The tiger at the San Diego Zoo. Yeah, I don't know what the tiger at the San Diego Zoo is.
What a bastard.
Yeah.
Mittens, I'm tired of your tiger splaining everything. The condescension's gotta stop.
Oh, the condescension of the tiger splaining.
Oh my goodness. Like we get it why you hunt animals that are fast because there's tons of muscle and that tastes good to you. You don't have to explain it.
Yeah. And stop telling us that, hey, I can't change my stripes.
Yeah. Stop hiding behind that excuse.
Yeah. You know what? People change. Tigers change. Maybe tigers don't change. I don't know. I've never actually had a conversation with a tiger. Are you a zoo fan, Hal?
Yeah. I like the novelty of zoo animals. There are a few things I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
One is the smell.
The germs.
No, the germs. Look, I don't think I'm going to get a disease from the animals. The smell is an issue with me. Like,
okay.
It just stinks. I guess I'm sensitive to smells. I don't know what the term is for that. But whatever that odd thing is, I have it. The other is the feeling that this is a cruel way to keep animals in general. And
yes,
like it's sort of not okay to see like a chimp in a cement cave. There was some comedian that had a bit that was like, come see the chimpanzee in his natural habitat, the cement cave. And that always stuck with me as like the shining example of what is. Now there are some zoos, as I understand it, where that's not the case, where maybe the animals are protected. I don't know. And I know we're going to avoid sort of the larger political discussions.
Yes. As far as I know, the zoos that I have been to, the animals are well taken care of.
I like the zoo.
Again, I don't want to get into the politics of zoos. We're just talking about zoo animals and leaving it at that.
Yeah, we're not going to be quoting all the commentators on Fox Zoos who come in.
And okay, now seems like a good time for that next hashtag challenge because a lot of people probably turned it off.
Sure.
Yeah. The ones that didn't turn it off after Fox Zoos, send a picture of a Fox News person next to a picture of the animal from a zoo that they look most like.
There you go. Hashtag Fox Zoos. No, but I will say in general, I do like zoos. I think they're cool. It's an interesting way to see animals that you wouldn't normally see unless you traveled the world. And growing up in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Zoo is one of the oldest zoos in the country. Maybe the first zoo. I could be wrong on that, but it is definitely an old zoo. And
well, if you ask anyone in Philadelphia, it is the first zoo.
It's the first zoo ever. You never seen another zoo like this.
Zoo is definitely one of those very Philadelphia friendly words for that accent.
Zoo.
I lived in Chicago for 4 years, and the zoo was about a mile away by foot and free. So it was amazing. I used to go to the Lincoln Park Zoo all the time in Chicago. And also when I was very young, about 10 years old, I did a video called Mother Goose Goes to the Zoo, which was a Christian half-hour music video to introduce kids to zoo animals.
You know, Mark, you have had a distinguished career as an adult. I mean, you know, you were one of the originators of Drunk History, along with Derek and Jeremy.
Where are we going with this?
You continue to be on the show to this day. You were, of course, an integral part, I would say one of the stars of the Thrilling Adventure Hour. You remember Welcome to Night Vale. You're on Star versus the Forces of Evil. You and I were both on Venture Brothers together. You were on that Bonnie Hunt show, Life with Bonnie.
Where are we going, Hal?
You were on The League. You're on I'm with the band. I'm in the band. I don't remember the name of it. Don't correct me. The larger point is, none of that work holds a candle to the things you did as a child. You were in a 30-minute Christian music video that was meant to introduce people to the zoo.
Yeah. It's a zoo day. It's a time to visit the animals with you day. It's a zoo day. A lion, elephant, monkey, kangaroo day. There's so much to do. Lots of fun for me and you. It's a zoo day today. Yeah.
And that was in Knoxville?
That was at the Knoxville Zoo, yeah.
What was the Knoxville Zoo like? Well, I have a lot of questions about this video, but I want to know what the zoo, because I don't know, you know, like there are a lot of major city zoos, and Knoxville is a sizable city, but it's not, I don't even know if it's in the top 10 population wise. What was the zoo like?
Oh no, it's not in the top 10. It is, but it was a good small city zoo. Okay. It was very much like, it was which may be why they shot it there. It was as stereotypical looking a zoo as you could get. You would walk in and there was a ramp that went up and curved around all these big lion enclosures. And then you, come into the main zoo proper, and there are all little sort of areas you can go to with all the different animals. And, yeah, it was kind of like, you know, they're all sort of like that hub and spoke Disneyland kind of thing, right? You go to Walt's statue and then you pick your land from there.
Right. Yeah. If they're well laid out. I'm sure there are some that are very confusing. There's I went to one in Colorado Springs that was like, it was all built into a mountain. So you have a thinner atmosphere, or, you know, you're at a higher elevation, so it's harder to breathe. Plus you have to walk uphill a bunch, which for me was quite a magical combination. It was like, it's just like walking from the lions to the polar bears was like running full speed on a treadmill for an hour, and it was only 30 feet away.
This is made double funny by the fact that right before we started recording, you were complaining about having to get a new inhaler.
My needs are my needs, Mark. But sorry, you were saying about the Knoxville Zoo.
No, it's a lovely zoo. I spent a full week there, and we sort of got access to things that regular guests wouldn't get, you know, going into pens, not like lion cages or anything like, hey kids, go get in that lion cage for Jesus. They did that in like the year 35, not in the year, you know, 1990 or whatever it was.
Right.
But I do remember on the last day of shooting, I was like just kind of goofing around and slid down a hill on my sneakers. You know, like if there's some pebbles, you can kind of like slide down a hill.
Sure.
And I went a little too far and slid my shin right into the back of a little golf cart that they were carrying us around the zoo in. And when you're in a zoo, even if you get the tiniest cut, which is what I got in my leg, nope, trip to the hospital, have to get a tetanus shot. There are weird, gross animals everywhere.
Wow. So if I was concerned about germs, those concerns would be founded somehow. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, they absolutely would.
Now, what was the name of this music video, Mark?
Mother Goose Goes to the Zoo.
Okay, Mother Goose Goes to the Zoo. Thank you.
Yeah.
I know.
Available on VHS and I believe DVD and perhaps digitally.
All right, everybody, if you're still listening, we think so little, like people listen to the show. They enjoy it.
No, I am very happy of that.
We're going to check the time and see how many of you are paying the closest attention with hashtag Mother Goose Goes to the Zoo and a link to that on YouTube or wherever you can find it online.
Oh, this is a terrible idea.
Cause we've got the video of you as Elvis in the mall singing Hound Dog.
Mm-hmm.
We've got, Amigos Pero Pepe. Right? Did I say that right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, you said that right.
And now we've got Mother Goose Goes to the Zoo. And I know that there's more, but I don't want you to tell me about it now because I like it. I love learning new facts about you because they're always interesting. There's always a great story. You had one, we were recording, last night. We were recording 3 episodes of the Indiana Jones Minute. They won't be out for a few months.
Yeah, an amazing podcast, and what a treat and a really fun time. So please listen to that show.
Yeah, but we're sitting there, and all of a sudden Mark's like, oh yeah, one time I was locked in a secret room with a snake in a bag. Like, yeah. You know how that happens to everybody. I was just throwing off the time it happened to me. So it's such a joy. Even in our close friendship, I'm still learning new things. And that's what keeps the relationship
thanks, buddy.
fresh. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Hashtag snake bag love.
So, all right, moving on.
Yes, let's talk about these animals.
When's the last time you went to a zoo?
The last time I went to a zoo was, I believe I went to the Los Angeles Zoo a couple of years ago with my friend Janelle. That was my last trip to the zoo.
You have not been to the Central Park Zoo?
I have not been to the Central Park Zoo, and I've not been to the zoo in Prospect Park, which is right near where I live.
Okay. I
should do that.
A bunch of people with beards and really tight jeans.
It's by the way, the Prospect Park Zoo, that's the name of a hipster bar. Yeah.
Hot brew beer and cold brew coffee.
Exactly. Oh, jeez. That sounds terrible. You know what that sounds? Backwards.
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah. But up is down and left is right in Brooklyn. And that's cool, yo. Now,
when was your last zoo trip?
My last zoo trip was that Colorado Springs Zoo, and it was in 2011. So almost 6 years ago, summer of 2011. And it was neat. It was nice to be in a zoo. Like, it's cool to go to the zoo. I still enjoy it. I just don't, it's not something I don't think of the Los Angeles Zoo as a must-see zoo.
What was the occasion for that zoo trip then? If you're like, I'll go.
I was at a blogging conference.
Was it just not your idea?
No, I was at a conference for work, and then the instead of having like an ending party, like there was a party in the middle, but they were like, we're going to do an outing to the zoo. So everybody goes to the zoo, and we get there after hours, so it's not crowded, and we get a personal tour. Which,
by the way, sounds super awesome.
It was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's the way to see a zoo. Like, no bozos around. Also, all the animals are a little more relaxed. Like, oh, no kid's gonna bang on the glass with an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Right. I can chill a little more. You guys look okay. What are you guys, bloggers? All right.
I got a great idea for a way for you to make affiliate income on your blog. It's by eating this banana with me. Yeah,
I opened it up from the other end. What?
Sorry, did I blow your mind, man?
Put that in your blog.
And eat it by opening it up at the bottom.
Hey, should we talk about some dangerous animals?
Yeah. What now? I admittedly
not dangerous. Some bad. I'm sorry. I was looking at the word dangerous when I said that
because it's your middle name, but you were looking at your driver's license.
That's right, Mark Dangerous Gagliardi.
Now you are way more invested in this topic than I am. I admittedly, I love that we get all these different topics. Sometimes I look at one and I go, I don't know. And then those are always the ones that you will look at. They're like a dog whistle for you to get really excited about a topic.
Yeah. When it's a super weird topic, I like to get really excited about it.
And so for that reason, I've done zero research, but I do have strong feelings about it, but you've done research. So why don't you take it away and talk about, some of the stuff you looked up because you've narrowed down the list. So talk about that.
I have. I'm looking, I have still a list of criteria that I think we ought to use in determining what is the worst. So, and you can help me along with that, figuring out more that we could use. But as far as like just looking at the vast world of animals in zoos, I did want to break it down and make it a little easier. So I found what I believe are, 9 worst zoo animals of all time.
Okay.
And, you mentioned that you had one that you thought, oh, this is absolutely going to be the winner.
Yes. But you have criteria by which you got to this, right? Because you were like suggesting ideas, one of which was hidiness, which I didn't know what that meant until I thought about it. Because at first I was like, oh, does he not like a rhinoceros because it's got a thick hide? And then I realized, no, he means animals where you go and show up to the exhibit and they're nowhere to be found because their natural state is stay the F away from me. I'm going to hide.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are a lot of those. That is, and those criteria generally seem to apply to large groups of animals. You know what I mean? Like, if you go to where the terrariums are, you're not going to see much.
Right.
Because a lot of times those are hidden off in corners. If you go to, the lion area, the lion will be there, but a lot of times he's just off sitting in the back facing away from the people because he doesn't want to look at them. But that was where I started with this. But then I came across a collection of animals so ill-suited to being in a zoo that this episode took a turn quickly.
Okay.
And it became, oh wow, look at these animals. So I figure we'll use those kinds of criteria we were using before, and use that to break down this list. How does that sound?
That sounds great. I'm very excited to have this list revealed to the people.
All right. So let's first do the list of criteria that we will judge them on.
Great.
Danger, should something happen to the zoo. Boringness. General creepiness. And hidiness, as you mentioned before. What else? Smell, perhaps?
Maybe, although it's unfair to judge an animal based on smell. Because a lot of animals smell.
I mean, it's real mean to just put ugliness on the list, but there's some ugly animals in the zoo.
Hey, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, Mark. What's ugly to you may be beautiful to somebody else.
Yeah, like the opposite of the species of what is that's a really hot naked mole rat to another naked mole rat of the opposite species.
Yeah, exactly.
Spoiler alert, that's one of the 10.
Yeah, but it's not, you don't ever go to boy, that's a really hot orangutan. Man, that thing, I don't mean to be weird.
That's very true.
Yeah. If we're not judging animals by whether they're hot, we can't judge them by whether they're ugly. In fact, if they're weird looking, it's even better because they're hilarious. You know what?
That's true.
I saw an animal once on a show called Zaboomafoo, which is
I remember Zaboomafoo.
Okay, so you know what it is.
Yeah.
It was some
animal show where a puppet animal tells you about real animals.
Yeah. So the real animal, I forget what it was. It looked like a bat sort of, and had giant bug eyes, and its claws, it had really long middle claws, so it could.
Was it a Nosferatu?
It looked like a Nosferatu. It was basically a Nosferatu with a really long middle finger who could dig like grubs out of
a Nosferatu who had a problem with you?
I was so obsessed with this animal that I based, I had a character that I created that you can still find online. If you go to jibjab.com, I created this old lady character that was partially based on one of my great aunts, but also like one of her things was she would eat food really weird. She would put food in her mouth, her eyes would cross, and the jaw would like go in a circular motion. And that aspect of the character I created was based entirely on this animal that I saw. And it was weird looking. So I have a lot of respect and love.
I'm just picturing you do that in my head right now. And it looks a little like Mama's Family.
Yeah. You've seen it before. You've seen me do that character.
Yeah. It's been years. This is one to dust off. It's been almost as long as it's been since I did Amigos.
We're
digging deep into our vaults today.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So are we ready to reveal the list?
Let's do it.
All right. I have already named one of them, and that is the naked mole rat. Which may have been saved by Hal's pointing out that they're hilarious.
Because was that the big problem? Tell me the problem with, let's dig into each animal as we go. And we'll figure out whether it should stay in the worst, like, is it really one of the 10? You have 9, I have 1. So we're going to figure out from this list of 10, because I trust you to have done the vetting here. We'll figure out.
I did some vetting.
We'll figure out like a worst 3. How's that?
That sounds great. So the naked mole rat, is imagine a rat that's tiny and has no hair on its body and is bright pink with two little buck fangs. And, it looks like, you know what it looks like? It looks like someone took a bunch of rats, stripped their skin off of them, and then put them all in one place to terrify someone. Like a serial killer or a Leatherface kind of person.
Oh, wow. Look at this thing. I'm looking at it right now. It looks like a walrus made love to the gopher from Winnie the Pooh. And then the baby just never got hair. I mean, it does look like somebody's played a prank on a mole.
Yeah. And like when they're all together and they're in their little burrow, it just looks like a pile of penises.
Oh no.
Like a tiny pile of penises with little faces that every once in a while you're like, did that penis just look at me? Does that penis have teeth? Why is that penis with teeth looking at me?
You know, I thought looking at it, it does look like a penis, and then I didn't want to say anything because I know this is a family show. I was like, we're going to avoid that. And then you just went whole hog.
Yeah.
Cause to me, it also looks like, somebody packed a sausage incorrectly. But they're like, all right, I got this much
casing. Hey man, you left the thing's head on.
Yeah. And also, this is too much casing for the amount of meat you have because it's real wrinkly and weird. But there is something cute about it. Like there's one, I can see one where it's, look, this would be here's the thing. Every animal looks cute in a picture or can look cute in a picture. But for me, like if this was in my home right now, I would run so far, fast that I
think the determinant of cute is whether or not if you open up a Google image search of it and your first reaction is aw or and when you open up the Google image search of a naked mole rat, you go, ah.
Well, it has the two fangs in the front, but also bottom fangs, which I guess they all have. Like this really is meant to show you if you have something against the mole and its general design, this is what you go to because you don't have fur obscuring any of the problem areas.
Yeah. These are terrifying, gross monsters. But so, let's look at the criteria.
Okay.
Are we keeping ugliness or are we eliminating ugliness?
I mean, I think we should eliminate ugliness.
All right. Danger. Pretty low on the danger scale.
Well, who knows what those teeth could do?
Boringness. They don't really do much except lay there. They're fascinating to look at for a minute, and that may detract from their boringness, but it definitely adds to their third criteria, which is general creepiness.
Let me ask you something. They are generally creepy. I mean, I can see how creepy these are. In fact, there's a lot of
creepy.
In doing a Google image search, there's a lot of like mole faces put on human beings' heads, and that's terrifying. So the fact that like this is the new face of fear in the form of an animal.
Sure.
But I will say, like, think about a tiger at the zoo. We've already talked about it a little bit. That's what we would consider an exciting animal because it's an animal where if you were in the wild, it would be that would be really high on the danger scale. If all of a sudden it could get out into public, there'd be a real threat because they are predators that eat meat and they could easily see us as victims. But when you see them in their habitats, they're usually just laying there. Maybe sometimes they're playing. Does that make them more exciting? Cause maybe the monkeys are exciting cause they'll swing around, or the birds are exciting cause they'll fly around, or you want to see a polar bear jump in the water and swim. But I mean, I guess this mole, I don't know. I'm trying to defend this thing, but it really does just look like a wrinkly old dong.
Yeah. You're really defending this guy hard.
I'm just trying to find the beauty in everything. This is making it real difficult for it. Even stretched out when it's not all wrinkly. It's almost worse. There's one
Have you seen that show, Puppetry of the Mole Rat? You gotta stretch it out.
It's very scandalous.
All right. A general hidiness, or hidiness, they have nowhere to hide. They're in a, night hole, but usually with glass in front of it. So, it's almost like they sort of display them generally like they would an ant farm.
Right. So you can see how they're tunneling through. Oh,
which probably scares the heck out of them that they've got light shining in when they are naked and designed to be in pitch blackness.
Yeah. You know what else? They look like a wet loaf of uncooked bread with legs.
All right, let's go on to the next animal.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, it's
by the way, uncooked bread is dough.
Yeah, but this is something different. This is, it's supposed to be bread. Like, just it didn't cook all the way through, and it's just sort of lumpy, and then it started walking around and grew teeth. But some of these pictures are cute.
All right. Let me know when you're done looking at adorable, naked penis rats.
All right, tell me the next one. We'll get away from the crotch rat and...
Let's get away from the naked mole rat and move on to our second contender for worst zoo animal.
Okay.
And that is the Madagascar golden orb spider. Spiders generally terrifying. This is a huge spider with a yellow and black body and bright red legs. And he is...
No.
Yeah, he's about 2.5 times the size of a cricket that he is winding up in his web in the photos that I'm looking at.
Yeah, you know what? I'm deathly afraid of spiders.
Yeah, this thing. So then do not go to the National Zoo, Hal, because at the National Zoo, the Madagascar golden orb spider, he tracks its prey primarily by feeling vibrations on its web. So it is very attached to its web, and unless you get stuck in its web, really poses no threat, which is what the zookeepers will tell you is the reason why that terrifying Madagascar golden orb spider is in an open display and not behind glass.
Wait, what?
Yeah, open display, my friend.
What does that mean? Like you could walk in and walk into its web?
Well, I'm sure there's like a stanchion in front of it, but it ain't protected like the Mona Lisa.
You think a stanchion's gonna stop that spider? Like, you know what? I didn't bring my ID. I can't go over there and eat your eyeballs out of your head.
Yeah. Well, that's what it says. They track tangled prey by feeling vibrations on the silky web.
Yeah.
And also they respect authority.
They will not bring a +1 if they're the only one invited to the clubs. Yeah. They will wait behind the stanchion. All right, we're only letting 3 more animals in.
If there's a pair, I can also go.
You wait there. Do as you're told.
So this one is on the list. It is a terrifying spider, but it's mainly on the list because of how it is displayed at the National Zoo, which is not behind glass.
I'm going to put that at a 45 out of 10 on the danger scale. I don't even know. I'm sure these things are like, the spiders are our friends and they eat flies and stuff. Don't be fooled. Okay, people. Spiders will kill you. They're just waiting for the opportunity. Each and every one. So the next time you trap one in a cup and release it into the wild, it's done is recon. It's hoping that you put it back out in the wild so it can go tell its friends.
Hal, I like spiders. They get rid of a lot of pests.
As you know what, spiders are better not seen. If they're, I'm sure there are some in my palatial apartment right now, and I'm cool with it. I'm cool with you being here as long as I don't ever see or know you're around, because I'm paying rent here, and I'm pretty sure you're not, and I don't like freeloaders. So if I catch you, you may not survive. I'm just putting it out there. I don't know if this is a bottom 3 though. I don't either. I mean,
despite your eloquent threat.
Yeah. I mean, it's people like spiders, and I'm sure it's from Madagascar. So it's cool and unique. So that doesn't make it. It's terrifying, but I don't think it's a worst zoo animal, as much as I hate to say it.
All right. Well, let me move on to, we have 2 from Madagascar in this. The second one from Madagascar is the Madagascar hissing cockroach.
Okay.
This is a giant, terrifying looking cockroach that when it gets scared shoots air out its sides, and it sounds like so imagine a giant cockroach coming at you and if it sees you and becomes startled by you and you're in a face-off, square down, whatever with this hissing cockroach and you don't know that it hisses and it lets loose with a hiss, do you know how many battles that cockroach would win against human beings, including me?
Yeah.
Fine, run, go, take my house. I don't care.
It's yours. Here's the lease.
Yeah. Here. Enjoy. Here are the keys. Here's the key to the laundry room. You got to push the key in and then pull it out a little bit and then lift it up and then it'll open.
I mean, yeah, look, I don't know. All bugs fall into that category of people who like creepy crawlies will love it. So,
all right.
But I will say it's gross. And when you do a Google image search and it comes up with babies and giving birth as two of the other choices, because people do keep these as a pet. That is one of the other things is pet.
What?
But when they give birth, it looks pretty nasty. And I will say when I went to Israel as a teenager, I went on a teen tour.
Mm-hmm.
And we stayed in a hostel where they were like, there are giant cockroaches here, just so you know. They're about the size of a salt and pepper shaker.
Jeez.
So all the boys, we were like, oh, if we find one of these, we're going to hunt it down. And sure enough, we found one and hunted it down and it was gigantic. And it took slap it with a flip flop, then use hairspray and a lighter to blowtorch it. Then hit it with a flip-flop again because it's not dead.
Wow. You guys, I can't tell whether you guys are Sid from Toy Story, or if you are the army that is battling the giant evil monster in a 1950s sci-fi movie and nothing seems to work.
Well, it felt like we were the kids from Lord of the Flies.
Oh.
Cause we were.
And how old were you?
I probably was 15. At this point, 15 or 16.
Yeah. So you're really into this notion of like you're going to hunt this down. We are 15. We are men now.
Yeah. I was like, if I participate in this, will you like me? Will this do it? Now am I cool?
Oh, buddy.
If I don't pretend like I'm afraid of this giant bug.
All right. So if the hissing cockroach is out, because it does have some good creepy crawly factor to a lot of people that like that element in zoos.
Yeah, and it's a fine looking bug actually. It's not even ugly.
How about this then? If you think that you've got, it does have some creepy crawly factor that some people like in a zoo animal, so that might not make it the worst. What about this one? The common American cockroach. It is in the St. Louis Zoo.
Now, if you had told me that was in the Paris Zoo, then I would be like, okay, I get it. If it's in St. Louis, it's not an exhibit. That's a problem.
Yeah. It may have started as a problem and became an exhibit.
Yeah.
Like they just periodically put up little things that say cockroach, American cockroach.
Yeah.
Just all over the grounds of the zoo in case you see one.
Yeah. You may have noticed that this dining area is also an exhibit for the American cockroach. You'll find him every time you turn on the lights, scattering around, trying to escape. Have you had big cockroach problems? Have you ever lived somewhere? Cause you're pretty fastidious in how you keep a space.
Very much so. And can I tell you this? It's funny you mentioned that. I've lived in this apartment in New York for 2.5 years.
Yes.
In the past week, we've started noticing a couple of them.
Oh, it must drive you crazy.
I think we've each found about 3, and we don't know where they're coming from, and we don't know how it's happening. And Katie is losing her mind. She texted me the other day, oh, by the way, when you get home, there's boric acid all over the counters. It's like, oh no, she's finally lost it to these bugs. Yeah.
Well, you're in an older building, so they're probably not, it's probably not your fault. Like when I first moved to LA and I lived in Hollywood.
I was not claiming responsibility for these cockroaches, Hal.
Well,
what do you mean it's not my fault? You say it's not my fault as if you believed it was my fault.
No, it's not your fault. That's what I said. I said it's not your fault. Don't worry about it.
Hal.
Yep.
Is it my fault?
It's probably your fault.
Okay. Hashtag cockroach fault.
If you're still a picture of you reacting to a cockroach in your home with the hashtag cockroach fault. Now, I would put this as a top 3 just because it's a gross I mean, this is like similar to having an ant, which I guess there are ants in zoos, right?
Yeah. But this is trash to have in a zoo. Like, do you want it in its natural habitat? Put it at the bottom of a garbage can.
Yeah. Do people put like the giant rats in New York and DC in the zoo?
No, they don't need to. They have those naked mole rats.
Exactly. It scares them all away.
All right. The American cockroach is a definite final contender.
Yes.
All right. So, I'm eliminating these from my list as we go.
Yes.
All right. Our next one I would like to talk about. Do we need to take a break?
Yeah. You know what? Let's take a break before we go through the other 5 terrible zoo animals. Let's take a break to hear something that is not terrible, which is advertising for some of the great podcasts available on the Maximum Fun Network.
I'm Allegra Ringo.
And I'm Renee Colbert, and we host a podcast called Can I Pet Your Dog?
Renee, can I tell you about a dog I met this week?
I wish that you would. In turn, though, can I tell you about a dog hero?
May I tell you about a dog breed in a segment I like to call Mutt Minute?
I would love that. Could we maybe talk about some dog tech?
Could we have some cool guests on, like Lin-Manuel Miranda, Nicole Byer, and Ann Wheaton?
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
I'm in.
You're on board? What do you say we do all of this and put it into a podcast?
Yeah, okay.
You think? All right. Should we call it, like, I don't know, Can I Pet Your Dog?
Sure.
All right. What do you say we put it on every Tuesday on Maximum Fun?
Or on iTunes. Sounds good to me.
Meeting's over.
My name is Patrick.
My name is Ariel.
My name is Joe Coglin. The first time I went to MaxFunCon, I didn't know anyone. I was really nervous about that.
Everyone said not to worry about going alone, that I'd make friends right away, that I'd have an amazing time. It turns out everyone was right.
I instantly had 200 new friends.
I've made lifelong friends at MaxFunCon that I'm going to keep in touch with for the rest of my life.
If you aren't sure if you belong at MaxFunCon, you belong.
Don't be like me. Don't waste 2 years being too nervous. Just go already.
Join Ariel, Patrick, and Joe at MaxFunCon. Tickets for MaxFunCon and MaxFunCon East are on sale now at maxfuncon.com.
And we're back.
And we're still talking about terrible monsters.
Yes. What is the next terrible monster on your list, Mark?
The next terrible monster on our list is the white-eyed moray eel.
Okay.
So I'll give everyone a second to Google a photo of the white-eyed moray eel.
White-eyed moray eel. There we go. It came up. It is the third thing. White-eyed monkey is in there. Oh.
The reason I put this on the list is twofold. One, its eyes are horrifying. These are the eyes of pure evil.
Oh.
These are the eyes of an animal that, a white-eyed moray eel has the crazed look in its eye of someone on bath salts.
Okay.
I assume.
Here's what I want to do as an exercise. Everybody go look. I mean, you're probably going to look up these animals or creatures if you've never seen them before or don't remember what they look like. I'm going to do an impression based on the first page. I looked up white-eyed moray eel on Google image search. And I just want to do my impression of what I think they sound like if they could speak. And then, Mark, I want you to do what you think they would sound like if they could speak. And I think that'll help clear up how both of us feel about these animals, okay?
Oh.
All right, so I'll go first.
Oh, hey, guys, it's me. I'm just, swimming around in the ocean, looking around, hiding in this cave. And, if you want to hang out and come over for dinner, I sure would like to eat some fish with you. Be a lot of fun. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.
All right, Mark, you go.
I am a portent of your death.
That's what this animal looks like to me. But if you think it looks cute and unassuming,
they just look really like what? Like it just looks like they're surprised all the time. But to you, that looks evil.
It looks terrifying to me. Yeah. The other reason is I was really scared of Flotsam and Jetsam from The Little Mermaid when I was a kid.
Oh, yes. Do they still frighten you when you go on the Little Mermaid ride at Disney California Adventure?
No, not anymore. I know, well, now I know that, most of these animated movies, were drawn. Like people drew pictures.
Yes. Oh, so they're not real. You've figured that out,
Right.
that there's no real Flotsam and Jetsam.
Exactly. Now I'm a grown up. But I also have gone fishing and caught a moray eel before.
Oh.
And they will, cause they're kind of like snakes. They have no, external fins. I don't know the proper words. And so they move like snakes, and I reeled it in and it started climbing up my fishing pole with those terrifying eyes.
Okay.
Like it was going to ride up my fishing pole and come down at me.
Yeah, you had personal trauma. Look, I don't want to touch this thing.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be near it, but I don't think it's that terrifying because I didn't have your experience.
Yeah. All right. But I'll take it off the list.
Yeah.
Because I think in the last 5, we will find our 2.
Okay.
To go along with the American cockroach. I know this one is not going to win, but I'm going to point out that it is a terrible zoo animal, and that is human. Yes, the London Zoo once had a human exhibit where they hired a bunch of actors to live inside of a zoo exhibit. That is pretty bad, but not nearly as bad as what they used to do, which was find a family and against their will exploit them by putting them in a zoo. I don't know what zoo it was that was like, here's the zebras and here's the tigers and here is an Inuit family.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
a lot of racism
probably
there.
A lot of troubles there. So we're taking human off of this list.
I will say, Mark, as a performer, you've done a lot of jobs, including theme park jobs. Would you accept, is there an amount of money, a reasonable amount of money you would accept to be a living zoo exhibit for let's say I think they did it for like 6 to 10 weeks, something like that?
6 to 10 weeks. I did not know how long they did it. I thought you were going to be measuring this in hours.
Nope. You got to sleep there and
6 to 10 weeks. Yes, there is an amount of money. I'm writing it down on this piece of paper and I'm sliding it over to you.
We do not have a deal.
Okay. So humans are off the list.
I do like the idea though of actors being like, oh, what a great day to be a human. I'm so excited to be here. This is how I am naturally. Pay attention to me. This is my big day at the zoo.
And then they crap in their hand and throw it at the guests.
Yeah. Well, it's theater, Mark.
Yeah. We're trying to make a point. Not my president.
Do you get it? Hashtag poop fling.
So we've eliminated that. We have 4 left.
Yes.
All right. There is one zoo that holds the distinction for having 2 of the worst zoo animals of all time in one zoo. And that is the Maraland Zoo in Gaza in Israel.
Okay.
Now, I preface this with it is not their fault. It is a bit of a war zone where they are, and it's tough to get exotic animals in there. So their cat exhibit is feral cats from the neighborhood.
I'm going to say we strike that from the list just because that is an extenuating circumstance.
Okay. Then this next one, though, is not an extenuating circumstance because they deserve punishment for this.
Okay.
This is not like just putting cats in there because they were being industrious and couldn't get exotic animals, so they put cats in there.
Sure.
No. They took a donkey and they cut its hair, its mane, and they painted. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
Black and white stripes all over this donkey and told everyone it was a zebra.
What you want is a zebra. It's a zebra. Why you complain? Why you complain? It's good. It's zebra.
So I would argue that it is possible that the worst zoo animal in the world is a donkey painted like a zebra.
It's worse than a bunch of actors. I mean, I know we're eliminating that, but
yeah, way worse.
I think
those actors did that on purpose.
I think it's deceitful, but
you were the one who at the beginning was talking about the cruelty factor.
Look, it is cruel, but it's not like they're torturing the donkey. They gave it a haircut and painted it. Now, I'm not advocating that.
Donkey.
I'm not advocating that behavior at all. Here's what I'll say, that this is in one zoo. I think to be the worst zoo animal, you have to be in multiple zoos.
Well,
like, you have to be able to
right.
find it. Like, it could ostensibly be, as opposed to like, Jim Zoo, come see the zebra. We swear it's real. And and this time it's a feral cat. It's actually a naked mole rat that somebody drew on with a Sharpie.
Or they wanted a naked mole rat exhibit and they just shaved a subway rat.
Or they have an actual rat that they've glued a piece of pizza to. Look, it's Pizza Rat. Pizza Rat is here at our zoo. You'll pay extra.
Have you seen the spider dragging a mouse into its web?
Nope, not interested. Moving on.
Okay. All right. So I have one more on my list and then you have yours that you said hands down.
Okay.
So the last one on my list is in multiple zoos. Its boringness factor is super high. It is, of course, coral.
Yeah. Coral.
Coral. Come on, man. Like, coral is the only animal in the zoo that if you made it out of plastic and just set it there, I would have no idea. You could literally make a resin or a fiberglass or a styrofoam version of this animal.
That's true.
And I would not know the difference.
That's fair.
It is that high on the boringness scale.
Okay.
Pretty to look at, but lots of stuff's pretty to look at.
But here's the thing. Is coral ever displayed on its own? Or is it part of an ecosystem?
I would argue that it is displayed on its own, at least in a few zoos. It has to be.
Really? Are you sure?
I'm sure because there's got to be at least 2 zoos out there where there's a zookeeper who's like, well, I have to make sure that everyone knows that, coral, it's not rocks. It's not a plant. It's an animal. Okay. So we're putting a animal sign on it. You know what I mean?
I believe
that guy has to exist in 2 zoos.
I'm pretty sure that for coral to thrive, it needs other fish and creatures of the sea around it. And I'm freestyling here. However, with that in mind, I don't think there's any zookeeper whose need to be pedantic overrules their need to set up, like, they're more likely to go, well, this is an accurate, these are the fish that would be around this particular coral. And when I do an image search, there's some beautiful coral. Now, look, certainly you could make it out of plaster and you could probably fool me very easily. Mm-hmm. But I don't think of it as something that's displayed on its own. It's certain, like, the boringness factor is high. I'll grant you that. The danger factor is super low.
That's true.
But it does have a merit on its own in that it's beautiful to see it. If you're in like an inner city, if you're in like Chicago, let's say, or Philadelphia, where there's not a lot of beautiful exotic coral and you get to see some, like the fourth image in my Google image search is like multicolored coral. It's gorgeous.
Oh, I'm not discounting that coral is gorgeous, but so is everything in an IKEA.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all.
Well, look, we're not here to discuss whether or not stuff in IKEA is beautiful or not. So people take pictures in an IKEA and of beautiful things and hashtag it beautiful IKEA.
Yeah. Just your favorite items.
Anyone is still playing along. We love you.
Yes, we do.
All right. So it sounds like what we determined was going to be a top 3. It sounds like really we're just looking for something to beat cockroach and nothing has done it.
Well,
except the one thing that's left. And are you still confident enough in that yours will be the winner?
I'm not, but I want to put it out there.
I'm happy to hear it and, let it have the floor.
Look, as I've stated in this episode and probably many times before in other places, I'm terrified of spiders and of all the spiders in the kingdom of spiders, which is a terrifying movie with William Shatner. Kingdom of the Spiders.
In Esperanto.
Yes, in Esperanto. And the whole time he's hanging onto the hood of a car like it's TJ Hooker. Amongst all the spiders, the most terrifying to me is the tarantula or anything that looks like a tarantula. Because it's just like a fuzzy lump of death. And if you go to a zoo where a tarantula is kept, they're always in like a weird terrarium in a darkened room, and they're sort of hidden because they just sort of sit there. They don't spin, unlike that weird open air spider that you were talking about and whatever zoo I'll never go to. They like are in this little, and they just sit there, and you know that they're just plotting. They're just thinking of like, what will be the human being that I murder tonight? I can't wait. I'm going to sit here. Maybe every once in a while, I'm going to raise one of my legs real slowly. Like I'm feeling, like I'm blind. Oh, can somebody help me? I can't see anything. I'm just a weird, hairy death spider. I'm just feeling around. Can you let me take your arm and you can lead me around the room? And then as soon as you do, quick as a hiccup, they're crawling up your arm over to your neck to dig their two fangs in and fill you with poison.
I'm pretty sure the tarantulas are safe.
Well, they are poisonous spiders. They will, if you go do Google image search for tarantula bite and have your eyes open. I won't even search for it. I can't even look at a picture. I don't like saying the word, but to me, they're terrifying. Danger factor off the charts.
No, nowhere near as dangerous as some of these other ones.
But also boring because they just sit there.
Look, I've got it right now. The bite of a pet tarantula is similar to that of a bee sting.
No, it's worse. It's worse.
And wait. All right, Hal, look.
What?
I will give it to you that a tarantula in a zoo is frequently boring. The sight of it is exciting. But I will also point out that a tarantula, when wreaking havoc on Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci in the classic Christmas comedy Home Alone, is fantastic and hilarious and very exciting.
Fine. Well, then I guess we have our answer, don't we?
I think we do.
All right. Well, then allow me to say, hashtag people of the world. Go.
Take a picture of the people of the world.
Take a picture of the people of the world and post it, hashtag people of the world. And send it to @WeGotThisTweets. People of the world. Go to the zoo. If you have a zoo that ethically is above board and is doing right by its animals, then go support the zoo. And it's a good experience for a child to have, to be exposed to animals from around the world. Who knows? Zoo visits can breed future scientists, future veterinarians, people in animal medicine, animal husbandry. Can spark all sorts of great scientific curiosity and wonder in children. It's great. But if you go to a zoo and you see a bunch of regular old cockroaches running around, you probably shouldn't be at that zoo. I think that zoo's got a problem. And hey, zoo owners, I feel for you. I know if you have regular old American cockroaches running around that zoo, what are you going to do? Fumigate? You can't. You're going to kill the chimp. Everybody comes to see the chimp. They love the chimp. The chimp swings around. You're not allowed to look at the chimp in the eyes because it'll go crazy. But that's all you want to do. All you want to do when you're told you can't look at the chimp in the eyes is get into a staring contest with that chimp because you're the one who's going to make it okay. Guarantee you won't. That's how you get your arms ripped off. That's easy. That's just Zoo 101. The point is, if you see cockroaches, there's a problem. Zoo owners, I know it's tough. You're never going to get rid of those cockroaches. So you got to pretend like they're part of the zoo, quote unquote. I get it. I feel for you. But guess what? Your zoo has the worst possible zoo animal in it if you're passing those things off as an exhibit that anybody's going to care about. This isn't Joe's apartment. They're not going to start singing and dancing and talking to you. They're just going to run around looking for sugar or food and just show everybody at the zoo where all the dirty parts of your zoo are. And that is why the worst zoo animal is the American cockroach. Asked and answered. And one more thing.
Yes.
Naked mole rat. I know
Oh,
you were put
wow.
on this list. I'm sorry, buddy. I think you're adorable. I don't want you anywhere near me. Never get near me. Never. You're real cute on a Google image search. Even the one where you got your mouth open wide. And that
Nope,
probably
that one
scared me.
terrifies me. That one, that is where I draw the line.
Mark, he's just saying, hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are many more topics to discuss, so please reach out to us on Twitter at WeGotThisTweets, or check out the Maximum Fun subreddit. A flame war is probably happening right now.
You can also email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com. But what we really want you to do, the best thing you can do is go to our new Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/WeGotThisPodcast. It's a great place for the people of the world, our beloved fans, that is you, to talk to one another. You can debate episodes. You can suggest topics. We'll have polls. We share images. We started it just a week or two ago, and it's been so great. I wish I'd started a group at the very beginning, but I love seeing the interaction on there, and we love how engaged all of you are in the show and with each other, and it's a place to safely argue about things that will not end friendships. So join us there.
Thank you as always to Mike Furman and Jonathan Dinerstein for our award-winning theme song and score respectively.
Thank you to producer Ken Plume, graphic designer Uri Kelman, researcher Kate McManus, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thank you, of course, as always, to you, our listeners. You've scared the bejesus out of us this time, and we're all gonna have nightmares. I hope you followed along. Thanks for playing our game. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
And for Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin. And don't worry, everybody. We got this.
We got this.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Listener supported.